when Mr. Hiram B. Otis, the American minister, purchased Canterville Chase. Everyone told him he was doing a very foolish thing. Lord Canterville himself had felt it his duty to mention the matter, warning that the ghost had been seen by several members of his family, as well as by the rector of the parish. Mr. Otis replied that he came from a modern country where everything money could buy was at his disposal, and that if there were such a thing as a ghost in Europe, he would be proud to have it. Lord Canterville smiled and shook his head. The family arrived in the evening. Mrs. Otis had been a celebrated beauty. Her eldest son, Washington, was a fair-haired young man. Then came the twins, known simply as the Stars and Stripes. And last was little Virginia, a lovely girl of 15, with large blue eyes, wonderfully sweet and gentle in her manner. The house was very damp, and on the floor of the library was a dull red stain. Mrs. Umney, the housekeeper, informed them in a low, mysterious voice that it was the blood of Lady Eleanor de Canterville, murdered on that very spot by her husband, Sir Simon, in 1575. Washington Otis, however, knelt down, and in a few moments the stain had vanished. He had brought with him a bottle of Pinkerton's Champion Stain Remover. The housekeeper was considerably put out. That night, a peal of thunder shook the house, and Mrs. Umney fainted. The following morning at breakfast, the stain had reappeared. Washington cleaned it a second time. Again it returned. The family began to find the matter curious, but Mr. Otis remained untroubled, consulting his copy of Pinkerton's catalog for further domestic solutions. Wholly undisturbed by the persistence of the ancient and terrible crimson mark upon the floor. Shortly after midnight, Mr. Otis was awakened by a curious noise in the corridor. He opened the door and found a terrible old man standing in the faint moonlight. His eyes were red as burning coals. Long gray hair fell over his shoulders, and his garments, antique and soiled, trailed upon the stone floor. From his wrists hung heavy manacles and rusty fetters. Mr. Otis regarded him calmly. He had brought with him a small bottle of Tammany Rising Sun lubricant, which he presented to the ghost, suggesting it would oil the chains most effectively and prevent further disturbance. Sir Simon stood speechless with indignation. He was unaccustomed to such treatment. He fled, howling down the corridor, and at the second landing, the twins appeared, releasing a large pillow in his direction. He made straight for the back staircase and vanished through the wainscoting. Deeply shaken by his unprecedented and entirely undignified reception in the Chase, Sir Simon tried every device in his celebrated repertoire. He appeared as the Headless Earl, as the Strangled Babe, and as Reckless Rupert, who rode about the corridors on a phantom horse. Nothing prevailed. The family remained cheerfully unmoved. Worse, the twins took to setting mechanical traps for him. A butter slide at the top of the oak staircase. A bucket of water balanced above his chamber door. On the night he donned his finest armor and stepped into the hall, Washington Otis extinguished his candle with a fire extinguisher. Sir Simon became desperate. He retreated to his secret chamber, refusing to appear for days together. He who had driven Lord Canterville's uncle to madness and made 3 French ambassadors quit the house, now sat alone in the dark, nursing a bruised knee and wounded pride, surrounded by the ruins of his once magnificent professional reputation, utterly defeated by cheerful, modern, and entirely unimaginative Americans. One afternoon, Virginia came upon the ghost sitting quite still by the window, his head in his hands. He looked so forlorn, so utterly defeated, that she felt a sudden rush of pity. He told her he had not slept in 300 years, and that sleep was a very beautiful thing. He spoke of the garden of death, where one may rest undisturbed forever, listening to the wind among the grass and the flowers growing above. But the gate would only open if an innocent soul wept and prayed for him, on his behalf, for all the evil he had done. Virginia was silent a moment. Then she said quietly that she believed in God and thought he could forgive the wicked if their hearts were truly repentant. She took the ghost's cold, trembling hand in hers, and together they walked toward a faint, golden light that glimmered at the far end of the chamber. The family searched for Virginia throughout the house and grounds, calling her name in increasing alarm. Night fell, and still she did not come. Then, at the stroke of midnight, a secret panel in the wall of the library swung open, and Virginia stepped out, pale but composed, carrying in her hand a small casket of antique jewels. She told them that the ghost had gone and that he was at peace at last. Her father embraced her. She would not say much of what had passed behind that door, save that she had seen things she could not readily explain, and that they had been very beautiful and very solemn. Mr. Otis examined the jewels and declared them remarkably fine. Lord Canterville, when informed, graciously insisted they were Virginia's own. By right of the small courage she had displayed on behalf of the oldest and most wretched inhabitant of Canterville Chase, they found the skeleton of Sir Simon in a small chamber beneath the house, with a large amber-handled knife lying beside it, and an empty plate nearby. He was given a proper burial in the churchyard, with Virginia laying white almond blossoms upon the coffin. Years later, when she was the Duchess of Cheshire, her husband asked her what had truly happened behind the panel. She told him she could never speak of it fully, for it was a secret between herself and the dead. But she showed him a small note found inside the jewel casket in faded ink, which said only that kindness can accomplish what no power in the world can compel, and that a young girl's tears had opened at last the gate of peace. The Duke kissed her tenderly, and in the churchyard at Canterville, the almond trees blossomed year after year above the grave of Sir Simon de Canterville.